everyone, and welcome to She Rides, a podcast where women's cycling takes the lead. I'm Sarah, your host for today, and I'm joined by a super nice guest to talk about women's cycling. Let's get started. Ready? Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 49 of She Rides. We're about 2 weeks after the latest episodes. Quite some stuff happens, but we're back. Later on, I'll be joined by Christoph to try to recap everything that happened in the last 2.5 weeks. But first, I'm here with a super nice guest. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Shahar. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. You?
Great. Thanks for having me today. Love talking about women's cycling and where it's going and what we're doing in it.
Yeah. Before you start, can you start by introducing yourself?
Yeah. My name is Robin Farina. I have been in cycling in some capacity for over 20 years. That's older than you have years in your life. I started racing in the early mid 2000s, so like 2003, 2004 in mountain biking, and then transitioned to road cycling on a USA Road National Championship in 2011. And then during that time got into coaching. So I basically started coaching in 2005, like starting amateur, and then just kept going. And then that rolled into becoming a director sportif in cycling, and then also like becoming operations and general manager for Cynisca cycling in 2023. So I've done a lot in cycling. I still love the sport, and our real goal is to help women progress in cycling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so of course, as we've seen in the last years, it isn't easy to have a women's cycling team right now. For sure, not if you're one of the 5 biggest. So, can you tell us a bit, like, what happened the last year with Cynisca?
Yeah, I think everyone wants to start a women's team, right? Like everybody has good intentions. I think there's a lot of energy behind women's cycling right now, especially with the world tour at the level that it is. And so I think we are all trying to figure out how we can support women's cycling at the highest level, but we have to take many steps back and try to figure out how we can grow the development side of cycling first. And so, Cynisca uh, came into fruition in 2023. So we were a UCI Continental team. We've raced for the past 3 years as a UCI Continental team. 2020, this current year, 2025, was one of our best years. We've had strong riders come through the program. We've launched riders into world tour teams like Mara Roldan. She rides for a picnic now. So we've had success, but I think, it is a very hard time to raise money right now in cycling. I think it's not just women's cycling, it's men's cycling, it's sports in general right now. I think a lot of it has to do with our economy and our president, who was elected last year, and I think it's kind of been a whirlwind effect since then. And so I think right now we're just in a very turbulent time when it comes to fundraising, and I think what Cynisca has decided to do for 2026 is a great way to stay in the sport and support riders and try to launch them into the next level by giving them funding. But I think right now, Cynisca has decided for 2026 to come and halt our racing schedule, halt the racing team, but provide foundational funding for riders to be on world tour teams or pro teams and support a few riders through that process as we build for 2027. I would say Cynisca is not going away in any form or fashion. We're just kind of taking a moment to pause and restructure, look for big sponsorship, and hopefully things will settle down kind of politically in the world, and we can really focus on, things that matter, like, giving opportunities for women in sport and in life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great thing that you're not just disappearing, but like kind of making the best out of it. What was the moment when you realized, okay, this is what we need to do? We need to, make something up.
Yeah. I think, women's cycling, a cycling team takes constant and consistent work in growing sponsorships. Like there's never an off season. There's never time to rest. You're always looking for the next funding, the next sponsor who can keep the team running. And so, Chris Katowski, who's the owner, myself, we have a very strong board of directors. They're all like, women who are very successful. Shauna Griffiths, several names that I could go through, Gretel Seeley. So we've all come together and really for the last, I would say 6 to 9 months, put our heads together, uncovering rocks, looking for companies, looking for personal donors. And it's just been a really tough time. So I would say, we've put deadlines out there. We had a deadline in the summer. Then we pushed the deadline to, September when certain like pro team registrations were due. Then we pushed another deadline till October 15th when the UCI Continental Team deadline was due. And I think, throughout this time, you kind of look and see like, where are we with the sponsor? Do we have traction? Do we think it's highly probable? And if it's not, we have to kind of make some decisions and say, we're going to have to need to pivot. And I think, we did things the right way by telling our riders very early where we were with the situation. We gave them plenty opportunity to go and try to find jobs on other teams. We told them we would support them, we would help them try to find those positions, along with our staff. We gave everybody plenty of time to start looking. And I think
Mm-hmm.
really that moment of like clarity for us that we needed to pivot was probably, late September. You know, things like a scholarship fund, the Pathways Fund is what we're calling it, doesn't just come out of the air. It actually takes a lot of planning and a lot of thought
Mm-hmm.
on how it can be successful for the greater good. And so I would say, the writing was on the wall. We've been seeing it in our economy here in the US because we are a US registered team. We what we look for is ideally is a sponsor who activates in the US, but also activates in Europe. And that's hard to find, right? So you have to have companies that have uh, pretty strong foundation and funding. And so I still think we are looking for that type of sponsor, somebody who sees the value in helping USA cycling still grow, but also wants presence where the biggest races are happening, the most exciting, the most televised like the Tour de France Femmes. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think we're still looking, but I think this pathway fund is a great pivot for us to kind of, still be involved, still keep our eyes and ears on the ground, and understand what's happening in the sport and still with the hopeful of putting some Olympians in the LA Olympics in 2028.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, so yeah, your riders and stuff like got the chance to find a new team. Can you explain what happens to an elite women's cyclist when a team pauses operations and yeah, they are left looking for a team?
Yeah, I mean, this has been happening in cycling in sports for as long as I can remember. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when I raced, 20 years ago, it was the same situation where it's like, there rarely do teams have contracts that go on for multiple years. I mean, this is a
Mm-hmm.
very new thing in women's cycling where a rider will get a 3-year deal or a 2-year deal. Usually, up until probably, I would say after COVID, we were still signing 1-year deals. So you always knew in July you had to start thinking about your next year, which was unfortunate because you can't concentrate on where you are right now doing the teamwork. You're trying to get a result. So I'd say like, it is unfortunate that we did sign our first year in
Mm-hmm.
2023. We signed everybody for a 2-year deal, which was unheard of for a USA team to do that. And so we're very proud of that. We had riders that came back for 2 years, and then our 3rd year, we kept a few riders from that first team and then grew and expanded our roster. So I think, it's nothing new to cycling for a rider to have to think about the long term and
Mm-hmm.
start planning for the next year. It's not ideal. And it is something that Cynisca would like to change in the future. And I think, if we can take this moment in time, their 2026 season, reevaluate, I think, we would come back in 2027 and do multi-year deals because it does bring security and it brings financial security. It brings mental security so you can actually like focus on your job.
Yeah. Okay, and then yeah, a completely different question. How does a pathway fund operate like on a practical level?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is exactly how we're marketing it. It is a
Mm-hmm.
opportunity for writers who are I would say we do have some criteria, right? We want younger
Mm-hmm.
writers, meaning like in my mind, younger writers are 25 and under. We want them to be excited and motivated to race at the highest level. They
Mm-hmm.
have to show that they've actually I guess, had some experience in the Peloton, we would like to bring, in our opinion, it's like bringing a continental rider up to a pro team is ideal, or bringing a continental rider to a world tour team that is ready. And
Mhm.
that's a very specific skill set, right? It's like it's not just out of the blue. It's not just like this woman needs a job. It is we are really looking strategically at how we pick riders and where we can place them. So it takes a few things. It takes relationships with other teams, having conversations with other team owners, directors, like what's a good fit for the team. It also takes us looking at like our current roster, because of course we would love to see riders from Cynisca, current Cynisca, launch onto
Mhm.
a pro team. But at the same time, we are a USA registered team. So we would love to see American riders going to the European Peloton. But at the same time, we're helping riders, that have been on the team that like Weeva O'Brien. She's, raced for us. We're helping her facilitate a contract, with DOS again, so she can find a
Mm.
place to go. Because let's be honest, like 2026 is not an easy year to find jobs, right? A lot of
Mhm.
teams are folding. Archaea is folding. We've folded. I mean, the list is long. So there's definitely more riders than there are jobs right now. And so we
Mhm.
understand that. We realize that. And that's one reason why we created the Path Fund. So at least we can support a few riders that would be without a job. We can help place them on a job by providing their salary. So, pro teams have minimum salaries, world tour teams have minimum salaries. The least we could offer was pay their salary so they have a place and they're getting paid
Mhm.
a fair wage. So
Mhm.
that's what's really important about the Pathways Fund.
Mhm. Yeah. How does it like technically go? How are you working with the teams to place the riders? How does the process go?
Yeah. So I think once we realized that we weren't not going to have a team for 2026, I started reaching out to other team owners, team managers, general managers, and saying like, who are you looking for? What type of rider? And then we looked at our current riders and decided like, could we help this? Could we bring one of our riders and put them on a team? So, it's a relationship thing. You have to be willing to go out there and search for teams that need riders. And I think also, let's be honest, like cycling teams in its nature is a little competitive. So when you reach out to other teams, they're wondering, why are you reaching out to us? Is it for a merger? Is it for, what is it self-serving? And, I think we're at this great place with this pathway funds where we can be neutral. We don't have to have any alliances to anybody. We don't owe anybody anything. So we literally can help any team that has a spot to fill, or that sees one of our riders or sees an American or somebody that we can help, and we can help facilitate that contract. So
Mhm.
it's actually an ideal space to be right now. I think, you know, putting let's be honest, to run a team, even a continental team, it's about $2 million all said and done. If you're going to do it right, if you're
Mhm.
going to pay salaries, if you're going to pay your staff, if you're going to do and travel and make it to all the races, $2 million. That's a huge price. That's a huge price tag, right? And if you can't do it the right way, you should not do it. So in our opinion, the best thing to do was pull back, take the time. Let's look for sponsorships, but also use the money we have and use the money that we can raise to support riders. And so I think, it was a pretty simple decision for us to make. Is like, we're not going to do it the wrong way. We're not going to try to run a team off of 750,000 when we should be spending
Mhm.
2 million. And I think that is where the gap in women's cycling is having a major issue. I think the UCI created the pro team level too early. We weren't ready for it. It's caused major funding gaps for continental teams. And I just think it's premature. I think it's a great idea down the road, but right now it's caused a major issue with funding. I mean, you still have to pay 32,000 or 30, I think it's 32,000 American dollars. I don't know what it is in euro, to put a woman, a rider on a pro team. That's a lot of money. It's not to say that that's wrong, but it's cutting the bottom out from all these other teams. So it is something to consider. And I mean, I am all for paying people for hard work and paying a rider for the job, but it's like I think it was premature.
Yeah, yeah. UCI and their decisions
Yeah,
lately.
they don't look long term, and they're not thinking They actually just make decisions and don't really ask questions or talk to the people on the ground. We're on the
Mhm.
ground. We pay the bills. They're just watching from afar and hoping everything works out. So, you know,
Mhm.
they just make their decisions like we said,
Mhm.
right or wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and then like if you go to like the contract really, how does it work when you pay a rider to race with another team? How does that legally work?
Legally, it's the contract comes from the team they're
Mhm.
going to ride for. So in our scenario, our first rider that we signed, that contract was given from, and I'll go ahead and just say like Natalie Quinn, who was one of our riders. We picked her up in April of last year. She was riding for Hess, that we don't
Mhm.
even know what was going on there, right? They were a team, they weren't a team. She knew that she needed a better opportunity. I've been watching her for a couple years and knew that she had talent. So when the opportunity came, we
Mhm.
reached out to her. She came over to us right before I think either Amstel Gold or Flanders, and she jumped right in. She started racing for us right during that time. You could tell that she had a lot of potential, that she's determined. She wants to be at the big, at the top level. So throughout the season, I knew that she had what it takes to make it to that next step. Sure enough, August, I think it was the beginning of September, around the Maryland Cycling Classic that was here, was a UCI race in the US. She had already reached out. She knew because we had communicated with them, like she was looking for teams just like everybody else does. And so, once she said, she had, some connections there, I would go and say, this is a great rider. Like I told several of their management, like she is a good fit for you guys. And so what will happen is, and she's already signed a contract, right? She's signed a contract for next year, but we will end up paying WinSpace for her contract. So the contract comes from that team, but we have to work with the owners of WinSpace or whatever team to make sure like they get what they need, to make sure that, I mean, we're going to have some exposure on helmets. There'll be little things that will say Cynisca that will mark her as a Cynisca Pathway Fund rider.
Mhm.
And so it's just like any negotiation, any contract. It's like it takes time. You have to hash it out. You have to make sure it's a good compromise for both. I mean, that is our plan. We'll do that with other teams, but WinSpace is a French team. We have headquarters in Saint Martyr, France, which is right outside of Toulouse. So it's actually a good fit for us. Like we still have our service course and everything there. And our Chris Katowski, our owner, lives in France part time. So he's basically somewhat French and can communicate with the French, they're the owners of WinSpace. So it was actually like a really easy, I guess, partnership with them. But it doesn't mean, we are looking for other teams too. And I think it
Mhm.
just takes a matter of, yes, it is November, but to be honest, you can add a rider at any time, right? And then there's opportunities to ride, to do transfers and whatnot. But I mean, really, all you have to do is put a registration into the UCI and you can add a rider. So it's actually,
Mhm.
unless they're at their limit. So, I mean, I think right now we're at an interesting time in the sport. Teams need money, riders need money, everybody needs money. And so, because we are not spending 2 million on a team, we have some money to
Mhm.
help out riders. So it's a really good fit right now for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And how will you define success for the pathway funds next year?
Well, I mean, I think success is just step one, putting riders on a team, right? So we've already
Mhm.
done one. We've got
Yeah.
we've got conversations going for another rider. Uh and, I think our goal would be 2 to 3 riders just this year. Um, I think success for us is seeing a writer progress and continuing to progress, right? Like knowing that this is a good fit. So the writer we place, is a good fit for the team. She can contribute, be a presence on the team, and then also just continue to get better. So like again, we
Mhm.
are fostering young riders to becoming like mature riders in the world tour pro level sport. And I think that's a success for us. I would say staying in the sport is also a success for us and not just folding up shop and saying, we're done, we'll come back in
Mhm.
a few years. I mean, we went into this with the expectation that we would make a difference in cycling, women's cycling. We have done that. And I think, our hope is to continue to be able to do that in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing that you guys did there. If this works very well, do you see it continuing even after Siniska returns, or is it like a
I
momentary thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. So we have thought, of course you have to consider the future and like what it looks like. I mean, I've told you already that we are going to continue to look for that big sponsor and try to really come back as a
Mhm.
team in 2027. And if that does not happen, I think this is the Pathway Fund, Cynisca Pathway Fund is a great way to continue to provide support for riders. So,
Mhm.
if by 2026 things in the economy have not stabilized or we're not seeing different, you know, more opportunity or some change, I think like we would maybe stay on this path. I mean, it's not I think we have our eyes on of the Olympics in LA, right? Like that's a
Mhm.
huge opportunity for any cycling team, any sport. It's in our backyard. I live in California. I live in Northern California, but it's like we have riders from this past team, like Chloe Patrick, who lives in LA. I mean, Kayla Davis lives in outside of LA. So it's like it is very close to home. And we would love to see riders in the Olympics from the US, right? That is our number one goal. So any way we can make that happen, I think is a success for us and also like, a good path in the future. So
Mhm.
I do believe that we could keep some kind of pathway fund moving forward and keep a team. I think it's totally possible. I think our board of directors who are female driven, they would like to see this because they can also have impact. They can help writers be more professional from a business standpoint, when we're dealing with contracts, when we're talking about how to save money or invest the money that you have so you have something when you retire. I think that's one of the biggest issues is that a lot of women race for 10 years and they come out of cycling and they have no money. They have no savings, no retirement. And that is super unfortunate. I mean, I was definitely one of those people who I raced for 15 years, 15 years, and I got out and I had to go straight into the workforce and start earning at 40 or 30 late 30s because I had not saved any money racing bikes. And
Mhm.
so, our board of directors who are very business savvy women are really trying to help our riders understand, like, even if it's $100 a paycheck, save it, put it away, right? Put it in your savings, put it in your 401k, start thinking about, what it's going to look like in 5 years when you come out of the sport. Because I just don't think the support from the teams is there yet. As we talked about, it's a really hard time for
Mhm.
money. So, that's the things that we want to change is like we want to change the culture of cycling, the scope of cycling, how it treats you and how you walk away from the sport. We want women to come back to the sport, be directors, be general managers, be owners of teams, because ultimately, we need some diversity in this sport.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. If we now go shift our focus a bit to the story of the team. Yeah, so why the name actually?
It was back in, I think, 2022. The original owner of the team, along with Chris Katowski, who is now current owner of the team, and a few people just like started really brainstorming on what was powerful for women. And Siniska was a Spartan chariot racer, and she trained the first female Olympian. So that was like 396, right? BC. So this was forever ago. But that story, that I guess her, legacy really resonated with what we were trying to do. And like the Olympics, right? We've always had the Olympics like in our scope, even since 2022, before we even thought like there was actually going to be a team. So I think it was just like something that really resonated, the power in it, the, story behind it, a first female Olympian, and just we liked it. It was like it's not a
Mhm.
we wanted to be a brand, not a company's name. So like no
Mhm.
matter what, Cynisca will always be the team. Like it will be Cynisca and
Mhm.
presented by so and so, or it will be so and so Cynisca. We're not going to ever lose our identity because that identity is really important. It's, it's who we are, it's what we've built, and we're very proud of it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think it was just something that was different and resonated with our owners and with, the people that we were
Mhm.
building the team. It was just a fun concept.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very nice. And then
And
like
people botch
yeah,
it all the time. I've heard it called everything, Chiniska, but it is called like Cynisca. Yeah.
yeah. And if we then yeah look to the riders, can you maybe share a success story of a rider who you have really seen develop with Saniska?
Yeah, I mean, I think my first and favorite story is Mara Roldan, right? She
Mhm.
raced for us.
Yeah.
Jillian Elsay was our director at the time. She was a Canadian younger writer who progressed and then got into directing. She told me, I think our first year, she's like, we should take a look at Mara Roldan. She's this young Canadian. She's got a lot of, sass and raw power and just like really fun. And so we brought her on towards the end of the year in our first year as a stagiaire. We signed her late in the year, and I remember getting race reports from her, and it was like she ended up in the hospital like 2 or 3 times. Like she had crashed, she had gone so hard she passed out. Like it was like one thing after another. And I remember talking to Jillian and her, and it was like, Mara, you got to get it together for next year. Like, we've got, we're going to re sign you. We love you. We love everything that you're about, your passion, you know, your energy. But at the same time, you got to stay on your bike. And she took that off season from 2022 coming into the 2023 season and put her head down, went to work, like just got things in order. And she had, I would say, a hugely successful year in 2023 with Siniska. She won races. I think she started off at Redlands and then just kept going. And she just showed that she has what it takes to go to the next level. We tried really hard to keep her for 2024. Maybe I'm confusing my years. Sorry, 23. We signed her at the end of 23.
Mhm.
We kept her. She raced with us all 2024. We tried really hard to keep her for 2025, but obviously she had some offers, and Picnic picked her up, and she has gone on, and she's already shown that she is a contender at the world tour. She's young, she's got plenty of years ahead of her. So she's a success story for Siniska for sure. I think
Mhm.
Natalie Quinn is also a success story, like someone who has that potential, got stuck on some bad teams, for whatever reason, because there's a lot of bad teams out there. We picked her up, she jumped right in, fit in, and then propelled. Now she's riding for a pro team. So we do have other riders, I think like Claire Windsor is a great example of someone who spent 3 years on our team. Unfortunately, she ended up like she had a concussion at the end of this year, but like has matured and progressed and now is like ready to go on and move into like, a environmental degree. Like, so it doesn't always have to be about success on the bike. It's about success, how you use your time on the bike and racing to launch yourself into your next, endeavor in life. And so we have several. I mean, I could go on, but I think like the Mara Roldan story is really powerful. So if you follow her on Instagram, she's fun. She's coming back from an injury, but I have no doubt she'll be ready to rock. Actually, one more I want to talk about is Alexis Magner. Sorry. She got married and has taken her name. So raced on the world tour or raced at the highest level for Canyon. Decided to come back to the US after I think she spent 6 or 7 years in Europe, came back, thought she was just going to race criteriums in the US. She and I actually raced together in 2012 or 2013 on a, pro team here in the US. She was a junior at the time. I was towards the end of my career, but I always loved Alexis's attitude and how mature she was in the sport. So she came back, did some crit racing with her sister on Legion, and then I talked to her in 2024 about joining us for 2025. Sure enough, she came on. She had a phenomenal year this past year, like winning races, showing that she's a leader, that she's, dedicated. And now she's signed with EF. So she's, another, and she obviously did have a bad crash at the end of the year, but has recovered and's back on her bike and will be, racing for EF next year. So I think like the success stories are there, and it's because we take care of our riders. We do care about them. And we want to see them succeed, and we're willing to do what we need to do to help them.
Yeah, some very beautiful stories. You've talked about it
Yeah.
a bit already, but can you take us through again what makes it so hard for cycling teams to really find that money they need?
Well, I mean, there's some different reasons, right? Cycling is a I mean, you live in Belgium, right? So cycling
Mm-hmm.
is part of your daily life, right? It's at its core. You see
Mm-hmm.
races come by your doorstep. In the US, it is not like that, Cycling has I would say road cycling has decreased. Gravel racing has become huge, but that's off road and it's not visible. So I think visibility is a huge factor right now for us. Like, why would people want to sponsor cycling when you don't really get to see it on TV? Yes, you can watch the Tour de France films, you can watch a few races, the World Tour races, but like on a regular basis, how do you watch riders that you care about? How do you support your your riders that you really care about? It's hard. I think cycling needs to come up with some kind of league. I know we have the World Tour, but that's not enough. Like, if you look at tennis, if you look at soccer, if you look at sports like that, they do sell seats. They have an arena, but at the same time, I do like the plan of having smaller courses, so shorter courses where it's more active, where like I think even back there's World Cup races where they used to be on shorter courses, more fan driven. We have to bring out fans. If you don't have fans, sponsors don't want to sponsor, right? It's all about visibility. If you want to bring in big companies that will invest, they have to have something to show for. So we have to have companies that can get a little creative, that understand how to use exposure. So our team, for instance, has this wonderful service course slash chateau slash villa in San Monterey, which is 45 minutes outside of Toulouse. We can activate with sponsors. They can do corporate events. We can bring them in for Tour de France, weeks where they can bring customers. They can have experiences. So that is super important, is that you've got to be able to show value to sponsors. And right now cycling is just hard. It's a hard value proposition, right? There's like, what can you get from sponsoring a cycling team besides a placement on a jersey or a van? Right? We've got to do more than that. So cycling teams need to get more creative on how to give sponsors exposure. So it's not just companies need to come and sponsor. It's like we have to actively be creative on how to get the most out of that sponsor. So we need to look for sponsors that actually want to activate with women, health, the health sector, and we have to figure out like what's going to motivate that sponsor to give their money. So I believe, you know, a league situation where you can actually like get behind your rider, know that like you're going to see them on a regular basis is super important. I think I mean, you look at like cyclocross and it's huge where you live, but it's gone away like where we live. Like I don't there's very few pockets of cyclocross. But if you ever looked at like a model that shows spectators, that's it, right? So it doesn't have to be cyclocross, but it could be a shorter circuit in locations where you can bring out crowds. So that's just one little idea. It's been bounced around forever, but I think cycling the model has to change because if not, only the really super wealthy teams are going to succeed and survive, right? All the other ones are going to go away. And so you're only going to have top tier teams, like maybe, 10 teams being able to like actually survive and race.
That's a very interesting point. Yeah, you just talked about your chateau. What's going to happen right now with it?
Yeah, so I think, we're still going to run some cycling tours out of there. It's something I've taken clients, so I had a coaching business. I've taken clients there since 2018. My sisters who own a yoga studio in Nashville have taken people over there. So it's got a great location for weddings, for events, so that will still thrive and go on. But we also the owners of our team bought a cycling villa in town, so you could actually just go and rent like, an Airbnb, like a room there. You could stay there for a week. It's literally in the foothills of the Pyrenees. So it's some of the I mean, I consider it some of the best riding in the world. Like, I don't ride on the roads where I live in Northern California, but I will go and get on my road bike and ride for hours around San
Mm-hmm.
Martiri because the riding is stellar and it's such a beautiful place. And it's, there's no big city. You can hit the climbs of the Pyrenees in an hour. It's phenomenal. So our service course, while, it was a really big deal, and a huge part of it has now been decreased. We've still got bikes, we've still got infrastructure, we still have the villa. So by no means are we just like closing up shop. We're going to keep infrastructure. We want to, if another team comes along in 2027, we want to be plug and play. So, we are keeping things like in place. I mean, literally if a sponsor came on, over the holidays, we could get a team up and going in the middle of 2026. It's not out of the question. So we want to be able to plug and play if that happens. As long as you have the money, the UCI will let you in. That's really the way this goes, right? They don't care, as long as you can write
Yeah.
a check to them, and you never know. Like somebody could hear this podcast and say, I want to get involved. I want to start a team. And I think that's a great way to do it. There's a lot of people who start teams as a personal investor, and then it gets the momentum and it picks up, and then you find a corporate sponsor that can help relieve the pain and writing the checks. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've talked about a lot about the writers, but how are you supporting all the staff you have?
Yeah. So again, I think, it's a lot. It's a lot to close down a team, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
at least take a pause. So we've sold a lot of bikes, we've sold a lot of equipment. That takes staff, you know, it takes a lot of staff just to keep a pathways fund up and running. It takes a lot of marketing, takes behind the scenes. So we still, have employed several people throughout this period and will continue to do so as long as we can afford to do it. So it really is about money in, money out. Our head Swanee took a new job with Map Pro Cycling, so she's taken care of. And I think from a director standpoint, a lot of directors, we're trying to help Anna Shackley, who directed with us. I think she's going to be working with USA Cycling some. That was a little plug I put in for her with Tanner. So, it's like it's all about relationships still and keeping that
Mm-hmm.
going. I think after you've directed for a few years, sometimes you figure out it's not what you want to do for life because it's a really hard job. It's probably one of the hardest jobs out there, being on the road all the time with a team. And so, you know, I think it's a natural time to take a break if you need that break. But, we've supported our staff as much as we can and we'll continue to do so, as
Mm-hmm.
long as our budget will allow us. But, just to keep the Pathways Fund up and running, we have to have staff.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's also super good. You're supporting the
Yeah.
staff because we've been seeing some other news here in Belgium as well that it isn't always the thing that happens when team closes down
Yeah.
or merge. So I
Yeah. I
think
mean, I
that's a
think
very
that is
good
the
thing.
sad part. Yeah, that is the sad part when a team folds. It's like people are left to kind of figure things
Mm-hmm.
out. I mean, I'm the same way, it's like when my job, and I mean, I am still involved, but not to the level I was involved. It's like I've got to come up with another financial means, right? To keep paying the bills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And well, yeah, about your own career now, how does it kind of shape having been a pro rider? Does it kind of shape the way you lead now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important for people in cycling to understand what riders are going through. It is such a hard sport and you have to be so dedicated, as in all in, right? It's not like you can get up one day and decide not to train, take a few days off. I mean, yes, there are times when you need to take off because you need to rest, but like cycling is one of those things that it's eat, sleep, and repeat. And so I think if you're going to run a cycling team or you're going to manage a cycling team, you have to understand what the riders are going through on a daily basis and understand that there are going to be moments when they're at their peak. There's going to be moments when they're in the valley. And it's like, it is literally something that takes a lot of mental energy along with the physical energy. And so, I feel like earlier in my career, probably when I just retired and became a director, I was a little tougher than I am maybe now. I still am a tough person in general because I understand this is a tough sport and you have to be ruthless to make it in cycling. The top riders, they are out for blood. They are as gritty as they can possibly be in the moment. But you also have to be able to turn it on and off, and you have to be able to separate the moments when you're racing and training from the time that you're at home. And I think that is one of the hardest parts is like knowing that you are living a nomadic lifestyle as a cyclist. You might be home for a couple days, a couple weeks, but then you're gone again. So you have to have strong partnerships if you're going to have one, or you have to be self-sufficient and know that like you can take care of yourself and then you can be away and do the thing and then come back. And so I've learned that like, it's not as easy as it sounds. I always say like cycling, you're as a professional cyclist, you're living the dream, but nightmares are dreams too. Right? So it's like it is the best and the worst time of your life, right? Because you're getting to do something that very few people will ever get to do in their life, experience pushing yourself to the absolute limit, and then also like having to live a regular life and interact with your partners and your people and all the things around you. And so I think it just takes patience, and I think it is a sport of patience. You can't expect to be a superstar in a year. And I think that is one thing that I've noticed probably with the invention of like power and I mean, using a power meter, all of our numbers are everywhere. People tend to think that they can, I guess, move through the ranks in cycling a lot quicker than they probably should. And so I always like to say, like, COVID created this weird situation. We had a lot of riders retire during COVID, and a lot of new riders started riding their bikes in COVID. And then they came out of COVID thinking that they could race professionally and just jump right in. And so we hired our first year at Cynisca, we hired a lot of young riders who had just started riding their bikes during COVID. And yes, they trained a lot, they rode a lot, but they didn't necessarily ever do any racing. And so that was like a shock because I expected more. I expected more like race savviness, race maturity, and that just was not there. And so it breeds frustration from a team management, team directorship when you have riders who really don't understand racing. And so that was something we had to like take a step back from and understand that we had to teach riders how to race bikes, not just train. And that's a totally different thing, right? You can be on your Zwift or your Wahoo and train like a crazy person and get really fit, but then be thrown into a race and have no idea. And so, yeah, I think my big lesson was just we have to be patient with young riders and really understand that they are still learning. You'll learn the sport as long as you're in it. You could be in it 20 years and you'll still learn the sport. But like especially the new riders need some patience. They need time. They need to be told what to do and how to do it. And so that was a very big epiphany for me when it came to like
Mhm.
leadership in the teams. And then just helping them learn how to be professionals, like be on time, pack your bags. Don't let your bag explode when you get into the hotel and be a mess. Like that's a lot of what racing is about is like being on time, show up, eat your food. It's like you have a to-do list. So that was very things that I took for granted because I did it for so long were things that we needed to go back and teach.
Well, yeah, then you've talked about, yeah, you're obviously looking for a big sponsor. So, yeah, what do you want actually the companies to understand about the value and impact of investing in women's cycling?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of value proposition. Companies need to realize that women are we do all the buying, right? Like we have a big share of the market. So when you're looking at a product, then you need to think who can sell this product for you better, a man or a woman? Typically it's a woman, depending on the product. Maybe if it's a chainsaw, it might be a man, but like household items, the things financial products, women are really the ones that can make the needle move for your company. And so I would say, there is an opportunity for your business to use cycling as a marketing tool, but you have to be creative and you have to be able to think, how can I trust the system, trust the people who are working for these teams to help me get the most out of it? And I think Cynisca is very forward thinking. We have a lot of business background. We can get creative with sponsorship. We can create value. And so I want companies to really realize that like there is a marketable, you know, proposition for you to move the needle for your company. And I think that could be it could be a small investment, it could be a huge investment. You could literally own women's cycling for not that much money. So that's a big thing to take away is like if a big company has a lot of money, they could literally come in and own the space. They could own a league. They could own several teams. Like that availability is out there, but you have to be creative and think like, how can we do that? And there's a lot of opportunity. So I think that's my big message is like, just don't turn your head on cycling, but think about like, it's a grassroots sport. It's growing every day. We see people on e-bikes, gravel bikes, mountain bikes are coming back. So it's just it's there's a huge opportunity right now if you decide to take it. And I think there's a lot of teams that could use the funding. I would be particular like which team you choose, right? Because it does
Mhm.
matter on how they activate.
Yeah. Okay, before we end this interview, one last question. So, for our listeners who thought, like, well, I love this idea, what's the most effective way for them to help right now?
Well, I think right now, we are asking for personal donations, right? We want to create the fund and make it bigger. We want to support more riders. Ideally, we could support 3 to 5 riders this year. But at the same time, we love introductions to other companies, to people who have a say in marketing budgets. So it's about connections, it's about relationships. So we love to be introduced, to be put in front of somebody who can actually make a decision. And I think just like personal support. So if you can put out, $25 or 250, that helps pay for a salary, it helps pay for infrastructure for the team. So we really just do want to facilitate, this pathway fund so we can support riders and put them in the right place. We have a fundraiser going on where you can donate. We have a website where you can find us, cyniscacycling.com. We have partners that really do support us. Like Specialized has been our sponsor this past year. They believe in us, right? Perlazumi, another big sponsor of ours, believe in us. So all of this synergy can really make a difference for some riders. And we encourage you to get involved. We'd love it. So I think it's just really important to like, think about what impact you can have on women's cycling whenever it is that you're ready to help out, right? If it's a small check, if it's even a connection, I think that's like, just as good
Hmm.
sometimes. So I would say get involved, don't just sit on the sidelines, like make a difference in the sport. If you love the sport, then give back to it if you have that capacity. Otherwise, just become a fan of women's cycling and Cynisca and our riders. And I want to say thank you for this time today to speak about the Cynisca Pathway Fund and where we're going and what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to you for joining us. I think it was a very interesting episode. So, yeah,
Oh,
thank you
good.
so much. And we hope
All right.
everything goes very well in the future.
Yeah, we'd love to reconnect with you down the road a little bit and show you and tell you about our success that we're having.
Yeah, that was very nice. Hi everyone, this is technically Seth from the past, and now for the latest news, I'm joined by Christophe. We have missed a couple of weeks of latest news, so we will try to cover most things, and maybe we can start with track worlds.
Yes, for sure, Saar. Welcome back. Glad to see you back in action. Glad to see us back on the pod for our listeners and viewers. First of all, yes, the action. It's not actually the action of the week. The Track World Championships in Chile. It's already been a while, so let's be pretty short with the recap because that's pretty old news we have. But basically, yeah, it's the Dutchies conquering the track racing, I think. In the sprint numbers, you had Hetty van der Wouw, who cleaned up like almost everything, which was pretty impressive. I think she won everything except the Keirin, or did she even win that? I can't remember clearly anymore. And what most of all stood out was her kilo time, actually. That was completely mind blowing. She started pretty slow. Not pretty slow, but it's like okay, it's okay-ish. But then all gears went on, and it was like, whoa! She blasted away all the opponents, and she finished in a new world record even. So yeah, that was pretty impressive. So she won everything on the sprint, or nearly everything. The endurance events, there we had, of course, now Lorena Wiebes also ruining the endurance events on track. So she won a couple of world titles as well. And if she wouldn't have crashed, I think she would have won the Madison as well with her partner. So yeah, Unfortunately, she didn't. So that was pretty impressive. So yeah, the
It was
Dutchies
a
rolled it.
pretty nasty crash, right? Because
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
those who
yeah.
didn't
It was just
watch,
they
also
touched each
known as
other's
me.
wheel, I think. Yeah, it was some yeah, technical mistake they made just like that, and then yeah, out they went. Other takeaway was the impressive team pursuit from the Italian women. That was pretty impressive, and it's always so fun to watch the Italian national team do the individual team pursuit. Especially you should watch their coach, because the Italians, they're slow paced. They always start pretty slow, so you see them building up a deficit on their opponents. And then the coach is just standing there like, nah, we got this, no worries. So he's like always stone cold. And then you see them like once the diesel engine of the team pursuit goes on with the Italians, then well, it's no holding back. And yeah, they impressively won the team pursuit as well. So all in all, nice-ish
You
track
forgot
worlds,
something
I
big.
think. Oh yeah, of course we have Shari Bosset and of course
And
Helene
something
Hesters.
else.
Helene
Yeah.
Hester, She Rides shout out, of course. Her bronze medal in the elimination was pretty impressive too. She rode the perfect race, technically very strong, and of course, in the end, she took a little breakaway. I think she just gambled to get the bronze medal, and then
But
she was completely gassed out.
she had a rough preparation with throat
Yeah.
infections and antibiotics, so
Yeah, and I think she
very
just
strong
played all or
effort.
nothing for the bronze medal, and then, well, yeah, okay, for silver, she was completely gassed out, I think. But
Yeah,
it's
but
really
it's
impressive.
still beautiful. Like at
Yeah,
Euros, it was like, oh yeah, but it's Euros post Olympic silver medal. Okay, it's cool, but it's cool. But now she's like there again, and not with the best preparation. Bronze medal at Worlds. That's pretty.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
pretty
good job.
pretty amazing. Of course, shout out to our She Rides guest Helene. That's Lara Gillespie taking the world championship. That's a nice one too. It's a nice world champion in the elimination. And we have Shari Bosset with 2 fourth places. She's back. She's really back. I think she's very hungry for 2026.
Yeah,
The last
super nice
races
to
of the
see.
season were strong as well from her. Now she confirmed her form, good shape on track worlds. So I'm pretty curious what she will bring in 2026 with a full season, with a full preparation, and with a full focus towards the road season. Yeah, good things will happen, I think.
Which
That's
is
for sure.
also quite impressive. The bronze medal of Helene is the elimination was like just before they had the team pursuit.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was thinking about how is it called, but like the team pursuit. So
yeah.
she was also a part of that, and then the elimination, and they became fourth in that, which is also,
Yeah.
I think, for the Belgium team, it's a very, very good result again.
It's very promising for the upcoming Olympics in what is it, 3 years now? Yeah. So that's good. I think they're a little bit ahead of schedule. I don't think they expected already to be fourth in the team pursuit. But yeah, don't know if you ever ridden a team pursuit, Sarah, but that's like killing on itself. So after that, winning a bronze in the elimination, just like in between stuff, it's like it's pretty crazy feat to do.
Yeah.
So as for us, for the Belgians, really shout out to the team pursuit. Shout out, of course, to Helene with the medal, and shout out to Shari as well for strong performance. Overall, I think you should evaluate this as just a post-Olympic World Championship. You have nice champions, but you could see like Finucane was not 100% on form, and I don't know if she really cared a lot. The Germans were like absolutely nowhere, which is also very, very strange for them. The Frenchies, again, Mathilde Gros, kind of a disappointment, like again. So I would say like this is a post-Olympic year, but the slump continues for her. So I hope she finds her good form again, the former world sprint champion. But you got the feeling like, okay, young guns, young up and coming talent, there are opportunities here. Like for the Belgian team pursuit, there's like an opportunity to get a really good end result. So all in all, of course, it's always exciting to see track worlds, but should we draw a lot of conclusions direction Olympics in 2028? I think not at all. I mean, this is just post-Olympic year. Yeah, it's still so far, and then it's a lot of decompression. Like Elise Andrews is another one. She was okay-ish, but yeah, we all know she's like much stronger than her results showed in this world. And yeah, I think the big guns are mostly like, okay, we missed the opportunity, but there's still 3 years to come, 3 years to train, 3 years to grow. So but all in all, it was a nice track championships. So and seize the opportunity if the big guns don't show up 100%. I should say.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So
Yeah.
let's not go too much deeper into the tracks because that's old news. So probably a couple of our listeners are like, yeah, we knew that already. That's yesterday's news. So but there's also a lot of going on in the mud. Like
Yeah.
cyclocross is now in full swing, and I
Yeah.
think you are more up to date with the cyclocross than I am.
Yeah. For sure, with the recent ones, I'll try to do my best. Like, Ardouille is already like more than 2 weeks ago, but I'll the main thing we can actually say is here is the bronze supremacy. She's super strong. She raced 5 cyclocrosses. She won 4 of them and became second in the other one. We will go over it. So Ardouille, it was already the 10th of October, and Brandt won it before Norbert Brol with 8 seconds and Inge van der Heijden, who's also looking very good there. And a nice result for Kiona Krabbe on 4. We will see her again a little bit further on in the cyclocross where she always has some good results. And then we had Essen, another Lucinda Brandt win, and then someone else who's also looking very good and riding very well is Sarah Casasola on 2 and Marion Norbert-Ribeiro. Also on 5, we gotta do a shout out to the rider in black, Helene Clozel, who for now doesn't have a team or sponsors yet, but is always there in the top 10 and doing very well, which is remarkable. But like the way interview have been going, I feel like there's something on the horizon for her.
There was, right? No, was there nothing concrete yet?
I don't know. The last thing I heard is like she couldn't really say much about it, but I don't know. Then we had the
If you can't say much about it, then something is on the horizon.
Exactly. Then we had the one that Lucinda Brandt couldn't win. I skipped one, but we'll go back to that. Overijse, which was won by Sarah Casasola, with 28 seconds on Brandt and 37 on Van Alphen. Also, what's showing here on 4 is Amandine Fouquenet. So next to a lot of Dutch riders, we also in this start of the season saw quite some Frenchies up there. Then the one I forgot was the one in Riddervoorde. We had Marion Norbert-Ribeiro, the Belgian champion, take the win before Casasola and Fouquenet. And then we already go to Oudenaarde, so the Koppenbergtros. I was there. It was a very hard audition, as usual.
Are there light editions from the Koppenberg?
It's already like the first lap. The last ones are it's crazy every time. But we had the return of Blanca Vos, which wasn't super successful.
Her marriage was successful, Saar. She's in a honeymoon period.
Yeah, but still, like last year, the Koppenberg was also not very good, and then later on in the season, it went upwards. But still 13, so it's not that bad. It's just maybe not really what you expect, but also kind of. Anyways, so I mentioned Kiona Krabbe there. She's always in the top 10 at the Koppenberg Cross. Here again, she was on 7. And then we had Lucinda Brandt, of course, because she already lost one. So now she definitely had to win this one. Super strong again, but the highlight of it for me was Célia Giry, another Frenchie, super young, and still only had to give in 19 seconds. And in the last lap, she really pushed Brandt to give everything she had again. And then Casasola on 3 and Clozel again on 4. And then we had the last cyclocross, which was yesterday for us. I was there as well. I saw everyone's favorite track sprinter, Valerigenaire, there as well. It was, by the way, for who is interested, Sannekam's first official workday. So she was there in Overijse and the Koppenberg, but that one was the first official workday. And then, again, a Brandt win. She was just the strongest. But quite an impressive comeback of Ribeiro, who didn't have the perfect start, but still made it to second before Casasola. And then there Vos, because I think we and I was also too quick to think it wasn't very good, but in the first lap she started as fourth, and then she needed another bag, and she entered the field again as third, but still ended up ninth. So maybe I was a bit quick to judge on that actually. Also, Zimanova is back in the field on 8, and Leonie Benveld as well on 5. She had a very good first couple of laps, but in the end it was just the others had a bit more left in the tank. So yeah, what you can conclude is Brandt is super, super strong. I also forgot one. Fem van Empel won in Hedersand. It was her 50th win, and she celebrated in a nice way. You gotta look up the pictures. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, nice one.
Was nice to have her see fun with it, but she got ill. Then she needed to skip a weekend, and then she started in the Copa Metros. After half a lap, she abandoned the race because she wasn't properly recovered, and of course didn't start in Lokeren. So yeah, my conclusions: Van Empel is made a nice comeback, but the illness does put some question marks for the Euros. Then we have Lucinda Brandt, of course, very much
She's
in
on
shape.
fire, Saar. Make the joke. Brandt is on fire. Sorry, guys.
Horrible. But Brandt always has this thing like Sen is not her best, but if you look into the results, she always does very well. So I think she's definitely the one to beat. Ribeiro and Sen is a little bit less the perfect combination, but she's also been riding very well. She's doing her best to make me forget that it's Sanne's jersey, because I'm still struggling, but it's getting better.
Hey,
we're working on
someone needs to wear it now. She's retired, Saar. Someone needs to wear the Belgian jersey.
But it's in your head and it just won't come out. But by doing so well, she's improving, and she gets a lot of cheers at the cross. That's also very, very good. Casasola will also be one who will be very close. Maybe, yeah. Inge van der Heijden, always good in the sand. I think those will maybe, like Fem van Empel, of course, those will be like the biggest competitors for the Euros. In Middelkerkers, mud focus, more focused on the sand. So we'll use that opportunity to do our 1-5-10 prediction maybe.
Yay!
How excited Christoph gets of predicting cyclocrosses.
Oh, but it's so difficult too. I don't want to pick Brandt, like you said too in the preps. We don't want to like put Brandt on one because it's too obvious.
Yeah, you can win though. She can win. Don't get us wrong.
No, no.
Obvious predictions are boring.
Not my take that she can't win. Of course, she probably will anyway. She's in perfect shape. I know who you're gonna say on one, so I will go with. No, of course I go with Fem. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I go with Fem on 1. On 5. Blanca Vaz, and on 10, Norbert Ribeiro.
Okay, so on 1, I go with Casasola. Yeah, I don't know. She just has something which makes me like her. And she's also just very good. And then, yeah, one of the ones who's famous for riding in the sand, Inge van der Heijden. I maybe think she will be a bit higher up, but she's so good in the sand, so I felt like I needed to mention her. But I think podium should definitely be doable for her. Maybe we can play with the team, like Casasola, Van der Heijden. They will be up there, so maybe we will see. If you want to beat Brandt, you'll have to do it that way, I think. And then on 10 we go with Vaz. Yeah. Well, I think that's enough cyclocross for now. We've just recapped 2.5 weeks of cyclocross, so I think we...
yeah, not Anna,
no. Just one thing we need to add is Zoe Bakstedt has broken 2 bones, one in her arm and in her wrist on training. So that's very sad for the sport in general and for herself as well. So hopefully she'll be back soon. And of course, I don't think Schreiber will be at the Euros yet after struggling with some illness. So yeah, and then I think I don't think we know much for Van Androoy, Pietersen, when they will return. Alvarado struggling with the knee. So that's also...
all too soon for upcoming Euros.
Yeah. Hopefully they are there for both. Let's hope.
Yeah.
But then we can go over to... We'll do the most recent news because otherwise we're going very far in the future. But we'll start with some transfers. There has been a shocking one, but like we'll just start. I'm not really for save best for last. We just start with it. The Most amazing transfer. Oh no, I can't say of the season because there have been quite a lot of amazing transfers on She
Yeah,
Rides,
there have been.
but definitely a very nice transfer, like in terms of vibes. Yeah, it's just you have the coolest team, O'Shea, if you hadn't noticed. And then you have a very, very cool rider, Julie van der Molen, and then you combine those two, and then it's just awesome. It's for both of them just a super cool transfer, and I love them for taking Julian, and they will be definitely a very good combination. So I was very, very, very excited when I saw the news.
She writes magic. It's good. Yeah, it's nice for
Yes.
Julie to get this nice opportunity.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think we all think she deserves it. We all we
Yeah.
all want her to do well.
Yes, exactly. Some other news. We'll just see.
Small
Jente
transfer from
Kops.
Alison Jackson.
Oh yeah, we're doing that one first. Yeah, of course, Alison Jackson. But it's like we should actually ask Alison sometime where it comes from because it's a weird transfer.
Is it to get back in the win column, back in the results column, revamp your career because it was a little bit quiet with Alison Jackson?
But do you do it at Saint Michel?
Yeah, for sure she didn't choose the money. That's for sure. Yeah, she's looking for like I want this completely to have every race my opportunity if I want it because that's gonna be the case. I mean,
Yeah,
let's be clear.
that's also what I thought.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like in terms of leadership.
So it must be
Pretty
that
odd
because I don't see
transfer.
any.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any other reason than just Alison Jackson saying like, "Hey, I want to pick my races, and if I pick a race, I am the lead. I'm the lead of the team." I
Yeah.
think that's just it. It's definitely not for the
Probably.
money, so, which is a good thing. Of course, it still exists. That's good to see. Yeah, I think it's just that.
We have
We'll see.
some other transfers. We have Akiwa O'Brien from Cynisca is going to Das Hutchinson. She showed in like the 0.1 races in Belgium some top 10s and nice results.
Sonara is transferring as well.
Yeah,
from
we
O'Shea.
had we had that like already in an episode.
Did we cover
right?
that already? Gee, it's been so long since
time
we
ago,
recorded.
I think.
Sorry. Oh yeah, I think we did. Yeah, sorry.
Then we have also, like, I would say, pretty obvious tendance is the French riders who were teamless are going to Ma Petite Entreprise with Lemuel and Alison Avoine. And we also have some coupe transfers. Berthold and Snortheim.
And as well, Saar team Coupe Repsol is splitting. Men's team and women's team are on their own again, and the women's team is not going to be named Coupe Repsol anymore next season.
No coupe bias.
And for the men's team neither, because Coupe is retiring as sponsor. Yeah, which is yeah. That's pretty huge thing. I'm not pretty sure if I'm allowed to say the new team name or to say anything about it, so we'll just wait the official communications. Men's team and women's team part ways. They go their own way again. Just a difference of future vision, of future direction the teams want to go in.
Do you know, can you tell something like what was like the difference or what will it mean for like the women's team? Or
I can't. Seriously, I can't. I don't know what the difference in vision is.
Okay.
What I do know is that they have some nice young talent. Of course, they're again an additional year stuck on the Conti level, which has a huge impact now in 2026 season. Of course, 2025 they could cover because they had all the necessary connections. In the end, they were the best Conti team of the Conti teams. So they got a start in a lot of World Tour races, which is of course drying up next season.
Still shit decision by the UCI, but okay.
Yeah, a little bit too little too soon.
I'm just gonna keep repeating it every episode.
Yeah.
Shit decision.
Yeah, but Coop is not the only one in that position anyway. Look at O'Shea; they're in the same boat, or even worse. I don't know, because I know financially it's okay, but the new Team Coop Repsol team, so no worries about that. But yeah, of course, program-wise, you take a step back from 2026 season if you don't become a pro cycling team. That's just a given.
Yeah.
But there's
Also,
exciting talent with Oda Gissinger, for example. She was third
yeah.
in Worlds, so there's some nice talent left. We'll see where it
Mm-hmm.
goes next season. Stay tuned, of
Mm-hmm.
course. There will be other bias. It's not named Coop Repsol anymore next season, but there still will be bias. No worries. Anyway, that
Yeah,
was too much of a sidestep.
but also what I was wondering, it's still staying very silent about Lotto because you mentioned the pro teams. I don't really like it. I'm
But
still
they
a
have
bit angry at them for abandoning Mieke, repeating that again. Still very angry and disappointed, but just for the sake of other riders and us, curious podcast hosts, it would be nice to get some more information on that.
You know what I do want to know, Sar?
No?
When is Lotte Klaas transfer gonna be announced?
Yeah,
I'm waiting for that
exactly.
for weeks.
Like,
Really?
let's be honest, for months, like the day we put out the posts, like you feel like, okay, it's going right. Right now I am like, okay, guys, just come on.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna repeat it again. 2 more riders, I think, from the podcast are in the same boat, or yeah, probably. I think Lotte has kind of an agreement. So, but like Mieke Dox, Clara Koppenberg, 2 very good riders who are very happy to be your new domestic. So give them a call. Great addition to whichever team you are. We also have a transfer from FDG Suez. They are losing a rider too. Huge shock.
Alessia Vigilia is
Nina
gone already.
Bestman is going to Human Powered Health. We also have, not She Rides news, but related to a She Rides guest. Britt Knaven is going a level higher again to DD Group Pro Cycling Team. They announced some upgrades and some extensions. You just gotta scroll on there Insta or something if you wanna know everything. And then we have Kirsty Hafton from Cofidis who's setting a step back to Smurfit. I don't know if there's another.
Love the name. Sorry.
It's okay.
Talking about Das Hutchinson, Norad Feit is making her comeback to the new Team Coop Repsol team after 1 or 2 seasons absence. She's back.
That's nice. Well, now we will go after going into the past a lot. We will just make a huge jump to the future, to be exact, the 1st of August 2026. Because what's happening then? Of course, the Grand Départ of the Tour de France swam. Not in France, in Switzerland, to be exact, in Lausanne. Again, we have 9 days of racing. And just the first conclusions, they don't want Weebus or any sprinter here, I feel like. It's a bit of an anti-sprinter parkour. Like they said last year, it's not very sprinter-minded, but this year it's even less. Very good for the punchers. A nice Van stage in it. And a time trial. Very happy, finally, because if not having one last year was just a shame. So, but it's there. So we start in Lausanne, and a puncher will be in the first yellow jersey normally. I'm already starting the manifesting after a shit tour last year. We're gonna see a Lotte Kopecky in yellow on the first stage. How beautiful would that be?
You shouldn't, Sar. Don't jinx it again.
Nee, it's manifesting. I also manifested the Tour of Flanders win, so it's going to be completely alright. No, it would be nice. I'm also gonna be there again. It would be cool. Just we finished that Tour de France chapter of 2025, the first day of the new tour, and then for the rest, it doesn't mind. Let's not focus on the GCM. Let's just all completely forget that from the media side and don't keep pushing. Let's start with the classic and enjoy a bit and then see what happens. But also, every year you just keep saying this should be a Vos stage. But every year it's also like, is it gonna be the same next year? And then maybe not, but then it's also, why wouldn't it be? She just keeps on going, so this could be something for Vos, Le Cour
yeah, the fox
as well.
never ages, apparently. You can just keep on repeating these kind of stages until eternity, I think. Like in 2050, we'll still be talking like this is a Vos stage.
So Vos, then we probably also, in the Pensure stages of last tour, that's more of a hot take. Eline Janssen was also doing pretty well there, so why not? Yeah. And then you can also just go further with Margot van Pachtenbeek. Just never enough She Rides Bias. But those are some more of the hot takes. Lippert, maybe. And then, yeah, it depends how hard it's raced. But you never know, like Nivea Doma, Ferrand Prevot, Vollering, Lamborghini. Just... But
Yada, yada, yada.
I'm picking Lotte for this one. It would just, yeah, it would be very nice.
Yeah, I go for the boring classic. It's Vos. This is Vos stage, all written over again, and everybody will forget about her. And then it's like, right, she's there. Yeah, and then she wins. Classic story.
Then we have a stage from Aigle to Genève with, well, again, some classified hills in there. What are you thinking for this stage?
That's a Wiebes stage. No other sprinter will really survive this one, but Wiebes is strong enough for this type of parkour. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categorized climbs, but they're not all too. Yeah, there's one of 10% average, but that's 900 meters, and it's like 50 kilometers before the finish. I think this one is for Wiebes. That's
but
too heavy for Cole.
Just hypothetically, if sprinters look at this parkour and think, what the fuck am I doing here? Maybe I just take a break during the tour and I prepare for, I don't know what's coming next, Tour of Britain or something. And apart from Wiebes, not much sprinters are there. How realistic? I know, because if the teams have some kind of sprinter, they will still work with SD Works, which is just not very smart. But if they really don't have a sprinter, couldn't they maybe like really try to race and try to put a break out there? Like
this one, no, Wiebes wins.
But like, at least
you're not gonna convince me with this one. This profile, stage 2, Aigle Genève. No.
Yeah, I believe you. I think so too. But like, I don't see the reason for this parkour, like to see like Balsamo, Cole going. So if they are not going, and then, yeah, could maybe be an odd top 10 if you don't have as much sprinters.
That's possible. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. But this one not too soon for the breakawayers. But I just hope there is a breakaway in this stage, and not of one rider, but just make a breakaway of like 10 women or something. Just breakaway. Just do it.
And then we go over to 3, and it's again no easy stage. Yeah, exactly.
The race, and then it's like it's like done. Downhill to the finish. So this one is also Wiebes written all over it. She will survive that first 24Ks. I'm pretty sure. She will come back.
First time I saw the stage profile, first thought I was like, oh, Giro, is this you? This feels like you.
Yeah. No, it's not Giro because there are polka dot jersey points on top. Because usually in a Giro there's an uncategorized or category climb to start the race with. So that's the only difference here. But
maybe we could already see like the fight for the polka dots with real contenders maybe show up there.
In that regard, it's a pretty interesting stage for the polka dot jersey to give some outsiders a chance for the polka dot jersey. This one is very interesting. For GC, not so much. Yeah.
I was going to say something else about this, but I forgot. So yeah. Not much to say about it. You're going with Wiebes, and yeah, I don't think there will be any other sprinter like really competing.
This is out of
unless it's a breakaway.
Yeah.
Probably Wiebes. But yeah, breakaway is not very logical here, I think. So
then the Wiebes party is over from now on. Then we go to stage 4. It's done.
Yeah. Time trial, finally. And it's not a short one. It's 21 kilometers, and it also has some climbing in it. So it's not the biggest disaster ever for pure climbers. Yeah, it's still a little disaster, but not like a gigantic.
It's pretty annoying. It's a pretty annoying hill they have to go over. It will break your pacing.
You didn't hear my pun. Gigantic disaster. Yeah. I was so happy with the time trial, but then I thought, Sarah. But it has a bit of a climb, so yeah.
But it's not suitable for the pure climber. So yeah, I'm really sorry. It's too short for Sarah. So it will break the pacing. Yeah, the pure powerhouses, it will be very difficult. The pure climbers, it's difficult. Yeah, of course it is. If Royster has her 2025 form back, then this one is like, really, she can climb, she can time trial. Should be her pretty easily. But of course, it'll be November. Still, a lot needs to happen first.
Who was on the podium again with Marlon at Worlds? We had Van der Breggen and Vollering. So they could also do really well there. Ottestad, I don't know who
Yeah.
was fourth. I think Ottestad was fifth, but fourth, I don't know. Niedermayer could do good as well. Yeah, just the usuals when it comes to
Yeah.
time trials. Like the usuals, like there's a time trial every few weeks. We know who we're talking about. So, but
Yeah, I agree.
then if you see the profile for the fifth stage, there's a lot of red, so a lot of categorized climbs. Yeah, what are you thinking for this stage from Masson to Belleville-en-Beaujolais?
If she's allowed, it has Justine Hekira written all over it, this stage. If she's allowed, because it might be a Kim LeCour stage as well, to gain some time and to gain to gain some valuable time to the GC riders. But if she's allowed, I think this is Justine's cup of tea, I think. Just take Margot with you, because there's never enough Margot bias on this show. Take her with you, so and sprint it out.
I was
and because
before he was like yeah Justine, and I was like, whoa, why aren't we going with Margot? She rides first, huh? But no. Also Justine is very nice, but this could be a breakaway stage. Depends a bit. If AG Insurance wants to go for it, then it could be harder. But if AG says like Justine, you can go. Also, the question is, it's up and down. Does Justine need to go in a downhill coach again, or they let Justine go in the break, and maybe Julie stays behind with Sarah? And then if the break is not very close, Justine needs to get back to the peloton to help there. Or if it's far enough, she can go for it. Or she just needs to stay. A lot of possibilities. Let's hope, first of all, Sarah can recover well and she has some time to go check out the descents. And it got a lot better last year if you compare it to races before the tour. So
yeah, for sure. She's not as bad as social media wants to wants to frame her. That's for sure.
Yeah. But we have to admit, like, apart from the Ventoux, it's not really a Gigante tour.
Nah, no, unfortunately. But hey, she may surprise us. She surprises a lot in 2025, so
true.
Fingers crossed, because there can never be enough Sarah Gigante bias as well in this show.
Never enough bias. That's just it.
Especially in November. Come on, we're allowed.
Yeah. Then we go to Montbrison and finish in Tournon-sur-Rhône. Again, quite a lot of climbing there. It ends with a descent. What do you think? Break? GC?
Carbol, yeah.
So that's GC then.
Yeah, GC, but yeah, just
like a big GC group.
Yeah, it could be, yeah, big GC, yeah, maybe GC group. Yeah, big GC group, like you said, yeah, exactly. And then Carbol in the final downhill, she just speeds away. Yeah.
And then there's just the big GC group where she, Nia Doma stage as well.
Time difference is not huge.
Yeah. On to 7, the Ventoux stage. On the profile, it looks rather flat in the beginning, but yeah, of course, you need to have place for the Ventoux on there. There are a few categorized climbs before, but yeah, normally the differences will be made on the Ventoux. They're starting from Midouin. They are doing that side. The start is in Lavaux-sur-Rhône. Yeah, I'm going with Sarah for this one.
It has Sarah all written over.
Yeah, it's finish up the Ventoux, super hard climb. We just need to guess that Sarah.
And it's the only thing that has to be done is just climbing to the top of the Ventoux. So there's a lot of energy saving for Sarah before. Even if she might drop some time on one of those smaller classified descents, it's
then
not a big deal, I think. Yeah. So it's even if she does. So I said even if she does. So it's not a given she will. And then with her explosiveness, with her climbing capabilities, if she comes back like she did in 2025, Frost, this is Sarah's to lose.
Yeah, Don't forget Ferrand Prévot.
No, never. I know, but I'm just thinking because the stages before are not Sarah Gigante stages so far in the Tour de France. So maybe she will be dropped a little bit in GC already, and she may be given some. But yeah, well, everybody wants to win on the Ventoux.
I think they are too scared of Sarah to just let her go.
Yeah, but hold her wheel when she gets off.
Yeah. When she gets off, there's no problem. But like you said, like if she dropped a bit in GC, I don't think they will be very happy to let her go.
Still, I believe.
Then we have 8. It doesn't, it just doesn't get easy. So again, we have some climbs. It's not as hard as the day before, luckily. Yeah, thoughts from Sisteron
Not
to
so
Nice?
inspiring. You could have done a lot of more inspiring things with this stage towards Nice. Like really, this is like when I see the profile, it starts very interesting, but then I stay hungry. The last half of the
Break.
stage is like, come on. Even break, it's downhill from halfway on.
Nice gap on the top, then it's hard for the peloton to bridge. Or like if it's if it's a smaller group, because after this climb it's not gonna be a full peloton with all the domestiques, so why not? If you're away on the climb, I think you can go to the finish here.
Yeah,
the
I
good
hope
climbers,
so.
but not like the super good climbers like punchers, Margot, Julie van der Velde, if she wants to drop the domestic duties for once. Go for
Give
it.
it to Malcotti. Give it to Barbara Malcotti.
Nice. Stiasny, I think it's a bit too much downhill. She's just, I think, a little bit too light for the amount of downhill there is in this stage.
Okay, we're gonna bias for Barbara Malcotti here because she will be in the breakaway. She can handle the climbing in the first 80k, and then there's like 2 nasty, punchy, short hills just before the finish. So yeah. We have a scenario. Yeah, it's possible. Good.
And then
more bias.
Stage 9. If you talk about not a Gigante stage,
No,
it's gonna be this one.
especially with the
It
Col
starts
d'Azur
with an
downhill.
uphill. It starts with
Yeah.
an uphill. That was good.
But the Col d'Azur downhill
Yeah.
is too much.
It could be an exciting stage. It's very short, so it will be racing from the beginning, I think. And yeah, you can't really not race since you start uphill and then you go downhill and then you go uphill and then you go downhill and 2 times more.
Yeah.
So yeah, what they try to do here is just make it exciting till the final day.
But it's a freaking exciting stage. But it's only 9k. I mean, in 2026, like all the favorites, they know how to handle 99k.
But I think they kind of want to follow like what they do with the men's race, only they forget that there it's 21 days. The final day is then needs to be a bit shorter, and then in the evening.
But don't follow the men's race because it's insanely boring. I mean, really, don't do that. No, I think the parcours is super exciting with 4 times the Col d'Azur. But yeah, 9k, I don't know. You don't have to finish in the evening.
It will still be hard. It will still be hard.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Don't worry about that.
No, I don't want to ride it myself. No worries about that. But still, yeah, I think the top of the peloton, the top GC contenders in 2026, are strong enough to handle 99k of this.
Yeah, it depends how hard they race it. If they already start full gas in the beginning, then.
Yeah, but even how hard they race, I think a lot of them have the durability already to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, no doubt. But like we saw, like in the men's Tour de France, like a short stage doesn't mean that it's less intense. Look at cyclocross, for example. It's also very short, but still very intense.
One thing is for sure, that day Charlotte Kool is watching this race from the beach on the Promenade des Anglais.
But she's not going. I don't think she's going.
Yeah, that's also an option. But if she's going,
shouldn't. She really shouldn't.
She's for sure passing on this one. Like, no, thank you.
Casia. This feels like Casia.
Nice.
Uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill. That's
what kind of a whole finish? Quite technical. Col d'Azur downhill to the finish. Could be.
Yeah.
It's Paris-Nice vibes, this one. Yeah, which doesn't exist.
Do we want to go overall winner already? While we're at it?
Jesus.
I'll say it's Madeline's year.
Really? Yeah. I think given the parcours, it could be Demi. It's more even out. Could be Demi Vollering.
But I feel like
It's
it's a very racy parkour. Like there's a lot of chance to really race. And I feel like if it's been like really raced, if it's not like pure like strength, I feel like the types like Marlon, Nivea Doma have some advantage on Demi there. Ferrand Prévot were also, I know now, we're also gonna forget her. But Ferrand Prévot will also be very close. But yeah, Marlon could be nice. Starting in Switzerland also for the story, for talking about story.
for sure. Yeah. But 3 days Switzerland, don't know. If you have a 9-day stage race, go from Lausanne to France. Come on. We have a
Yeah,
Tour
it
de
was
Suisse.
possible. It was
Yeah,
possible.
exactly.
But like, it's also, it's better than they did when the start was in the Netherlands.
Horrible. Yeah, yes.
It could have been worse.
True. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it's still November. It's way too early.
Yeah. Last
A
year
lot
we
needs
did
to.
it even earlier, so.
Yeah,
And we
and
were
none of the
close with some
predictions were right.
predictions. Yeah,
We didn't
Sarah
even.
was very close. Like, right at that moment, if you would have said that, like, it was not as so. You never
Yeah.
know. Maybe like the hot takes we did with like Eline Janssen and Margot van Pachtenbeek and stuff like that. Maybe in less than a year, it will also be very obvious. Never know.
Yeah, could be. I know. I might remember that we didn't even mention Ferrand Prévot last year in the preview. We probably
Did we
didn't
already
even
know
mention her.
her comeback? Probably. We probably already knew she was her comeback, but like, how could you? No, I know a lot of the time we were like, yeah, we don't know how Van der Breggen will be. You mentioned her, but Ferrand Prévot, I don't think so. So, yeah, if there's someone else planning a comeback, I'm very sorry.
Just care to
We
share.
definitely didn't mention it. We also didn't mention Lotte Klaas actually in whole our preview. That's not very good.
She should announce her new team first. You cannot mention Lotte without a team.
The rumors are saying Lotto, but
Wow.
Lotto is taking too long. But I heard it like a couple of weeks already before, and then it went quiet. So
Everything goes quiet with the Lotto ladies. Seriously.
But in general, it's more quiet in terms of transfers. Like As He Works needs some as well. There are some other teams who still don't have that many riders. So there is some stuff coming, but yeah, they have some time. So they still have some time. So we will sadly have to wait a bit longer.
Yeah, that's true. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then for the coming weeks, it's cyclocross. 6
The
days
only
of
thing
Ghent
that's
is also
happening.
is something I'm going to the coming weeks. So that's like a little bit of track cycling. We probably also have the Ville d'Or very soon. The only thing I know is Lotte isn't nominated. The rest, I know like the obvious names, and Misha is also nominated. For the rest, I don't really
Have no idea. All those award shows.
But what do you think?
It's like just to...
I think Wiebes should get the Ville d'Or. What do you think?
She should, shouldn't she? I mean,
Yeah, but
well,
other
okay.
people
Of course, I've done a lot of done a lot of Weebus bashing, but hey, in the end.
But like I've talked about this with other people, and people are you can be the best if you didn't win a title, but I'm like, she also didn't really get the opportunity, and she got the Gravels World, not the prettiest way, so we won't use that here. But she on track as well. She won Sanremo. She won everything or almost everything she could have won. So I'm like, if you don't give her the Ville d'Or now, when is she ever gonna get it? Because I'm pretty sure.
What country is organizing the Ville d'Or? Sure.
Shit,
Who won Tour de France and Paris-Roubaix?
Yeah, but it's unfair. Like, for this part I'm here, Lorena can get another win, because I really think she deserves that one. But yes, that will be hard. And you also always know with the scandals with the journalists who vote for the Ville d'Or at the women's side, like some non-filled or just one name, huh? So you never know who's voting this time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, maybe Ruben van Hucht missed some crucial races during the season. It's very much possible.
No, we should get it.
French prize, Ferrand Prévot winning the Tour de France in her own country.
She also had a very good season, but
yeah. If she wins, there's also a case to make. I mean, let's be honest. Sure.
But I know it's the wins are very impressive, that's for sure. But like Do like these big 2 wins, do they compare to the like, I don't know how much it are, like at least 25 wins of Wiebes with Sanremo, titles in other disciplines and all that stuff? Yeah, I don't think so.
It's a French prize. And of course, if the men have to vote that don't watch women's cycling, they only watch Tour de France Femmes and they just check who won that. Oh, she won Paris-Roubaix as well. She must be good. I'm just thinking out loud, pretty cynical, Sarah, but that's probably a lot of the votes gonna be like that. That's for sure.
I know.
Does Lorena Wiebes deserve the Velo d'Or? Yes, definitely. That's
Yes.
yeah, there's no discussion about it. She rolls up track cycling worlds. She rolls up every road race, and not even the pure sprints, but also like hard races.
Yeah.
But you have the Frenchie who won 2 big French races, which would be also very deserved for Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. Of
Yeah,
course.
true.
Yeah,
But
she
she can have
just
the
rode
French awards, that's for sure. But
she just rode herself in cycling Valhalla with those 2 victories. That's all she needed on her palmarès. That's all what's left for her. There's a case to make for her as well.
so that's a wrap for episode 49 of She Rides. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the ride.
Absolutely. Women's cycling is packed with action and we're here to bring you every twist and turn.
Be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or YouTube so you don't miss upcoming episodes. And if you like today's show, a rating, like, or comment really helps us reach more listeners.
And follow us on Blue Sky and Instagram for behind-the-scenes updates and more.
Thanks to Robin for joining us today. And don't hesitate to share questions or topics you'd like us to cover.
Stay tuned for more exciting guests and join our prediction competition. And tag She Rides podcast on Blue Sky to show off your knowledge. And She Rides is powered by Kariam Endurance Coaching.
Thanks for listening to She Rides, where women's cycling takes the lead. Keep watching the fun, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.